Hello friends, continuing my AngularJS courses. Today I am going to give some explanation about what is data binding in AngularJS. As per the definition, data binding is a core concept of Angular and allows to define communication between component and the DOM, making it very easy to define interactive application without worrying about the pushing and pulling data. So there are four forms of data binding which differs in the way data is flowing. So from the component to DOM, from DOM to component event binding, two-way data binding. So these are the ways we can pass data between component and DOM. So at the same time, it is work as a reactively interacting between component and DOM without worrying how data is pulling and pushing. So I will show you in practical how we need to do this. First I will explain about from the component to DOM. So we have two forms we can pass data from component to DOM. One is interpolation, another one is property binding. So interpolation means adds a value of a property from the component, that is interpolation, and property binding is the value is passed from the component to specified property or a simple HTML attribute. So that is property binding. Let me go and implement that. So this is my component. So here in previous example I already explained that. Now I will try to give some more information. So I have the user, so it is any. In my constructor I am setting value for user, restart user dot name, user dot email. So these are the two properties I'm having. So I'm setting value channel 11, email address chn@gmail.com. So these are the two properties I'm having. So I want to use these two properties in my HTML using interpolation. Let me see how I can implement. So I'll go for so as I mentioned, if we wanted to only read only data, and that too we wanted to read from component and display it in its DOM, we have to go for interpolation. So to do this is called interpolation, curly braces, two curly braces. So whatever you write inside, AngularJS automatically, it should be expression. AngularJS will treat it as expression and it will get the value from component to and display. It will read the data from component and write into the DOM. So my object is user dot name. So I have one more property and this email. I hope everything is fine. If all goes well, it should write that this should write these values into the list. Let me go on. Let me save this one. See how it is. Let's refresh that. So this is compiled successfully. There is no errors. I made a small mistake. So it should be object. So previous I have not added that. So remaining everything is same. So I just so I just updated that. It started working. So in case if it is not something working, we just need to go and see the developer tools. So if you press F12, it will come here. Here it will display all the errors if it has. So now it is started. So if you observe here, these are the my values I'm getting from the component. So this is called interpolation. So now we'll go for the property binding. So property binding is the event binding. It's so we can so property binding, the value is passed from the component to specific property or simple. Now I am direct. So now I am directly. So I'm directly displaying my values into the DOM. So now if I wanted to display the same value inside of any I mean any inputs, then we have to go for property binding. That is input can be equal. So it can be text. So property binding always start with angular bracket. So this is the value of my, this is the property of my type. So the value, so I am passing using angular property binding. So here I have to specify my value. So this is how we can set the value to any input from the view component to DOM. So this is called property binding. So if it is success, then it should work. So we can see, so there is no any error. If you observe here, it started binding my data to input box. This is called property binding. Now we will go for the second one, that is DOM to component. So that is called event binding. So we will try that how we achieve that event binding in Angular. So event binding means on button click if you wanted to pass some data or if you wanted to call any function, then we will go for event binding. So I will type input button. So here we have to write on click. So if you want on click of something, if I wanted to call my function inside of so here it should be click. If you wanted to go for event binding, it should be between this, that is click and event binding. This is the method we are going to declare now. So I will go for button here. Binding. So this is the method it is going to call. This is called event binding. If we want to call any method and click of button in component, then we have to go for event binding. So this is the name of function I am going to create now, and so it is going to call and click of this button. So let me pass some data also along with this. So I'm static data I'm running. Let me go and create this inside my component. So now, so to time sake, I already implemented. So this is my code. If you observe here, so this is where I have created that method, event binding method, and this is how syntax it is. I'm passing some value. So that is as written type is nothing. So I'm alerting that. So this is called event binding. So you observe here. So click. I'm calling this method with my value. Let me see. So I hope you understand how we can use data binding for event with event binding. So this is called event binding. This is property binding. This is interpolation. Let me go on try this. So on click of this, I'm calling my component function with value. I'm passing as well as value. I'm displaying same value. So this is called event binding. Let me go for two-way binding. So if you wanted to implement two-way binding, the syntax is, suppose I want two-way binding for my email. So if your user wants to update my email in DOM, the same should reflect to my component as well. So to implement two-way binding, we should use property binding as well as event binding. So that is combination we can achieve two-way binding. So this is the syntax. So let me see how it is. Let me save this one. So let me try this. If you observe here, hello friends, I have implemented two-way binding. So this is the syntax. So we have to use banana inbox. Previously I did something different. So this is the correct way. Model, banana inbox, and user email. So this is my user email property. So I'm going to means using two-way data binding. I wanted to both in sync component as well as DOM. And before that, I wanted to mention, if you wanted to use two-way binding like ng model, so you have to import browser module feature to our app module section. Otherwise, it won't work. Please remember, forms module you have to import forms module. So it's in the forms. Then it started works. Otherwise, you will get this kind of errors. can't bind ng model since it's not known property of input. This is not the proper error, but you have to import that into our app module. Then after that you can use ng model. Now it is two-way data binding. So if you start typing or updating, it will also update wherever that email property is referenced because it is two-way data binding. So CHANNL channel 11 get gmail.com. I hope I have explained what is data binding and how many ways we can achieve data binding in Angular. One is interpolation and property binding and event binding and two-way data binding. Thank you guys. Please watch my videos and provide your feedback. Thank you very much.